Hello. Okay. And by the way, I do want to welcome Elisa. Ray told me that you were going to join today and that you were brand new, and I just want to say welcome to you. Okay,
Thank you.
Rachel, you're on mute.
Steve, I've got
Rachel,
Jake on. He's brand new too.
Okay,
How
good.
about
Then
if I
we'll. So, in other words, Harry, you're asking me to be polite today, right? Behave myself, do a proper intro to people.
No, Jake's pretty well thick-skinned. He's a good guy.
Okay, nice to meet you, Jake. How are you? So, before I kind of get started, so Rachel, did that work for you in transcription and sound?
Yes, but I'll tell you what, let me do the whole thing in French and you put it on and people can hear it in English. How's that? Because I speak French. So you want to do that?
Well, no, we'll come back to that in a second. But I'm saying I just want to make sure, as me as the host, you as the guest, your experience was as you expected, correct? Okay. Did you have? You said you had a bunch of questions. Anything else besides the translation today, or was focused on that? Because I'll come back to that.
It was just the
We'll further
translation.
touch on it.
Everything else was like hunky-dory, but it was the translation that drove me bonkers. But go ahead.
Okay, no, I'm just saying I'm glad that I went for right in hello, and I'm glad it worked perfectly for you, at least in that perspective. And then, so let me do a little bit.
Translation?
What's that?
You
David?
mean I missed a translation experience?
Yes, in fact, let me share this, and then I'll actually set things up correctly, because this is also now in everyone's back office, because I obviously need a hobby, so I had nothing else to do today. So I made this for everybody. So hold on one second here. Okay. And here we go.
Whether you are on a live webinar or in a recording, you can.
Oh, sorry.
You can even do it in a text.
Wait, start from the
Have
beginning.
you ever thought what an advantage it would be to be able to speak to someone in any language at any time, whether you are on a live webinar or in a recording? You can. You can even do it in a text or email or during a live social media broadcast. Over 1 billion people have downloaded the Google Translate app, and half of them use it almost every day. So if you are one of those people, you're going to love this. Even though I am not live with you right now, let me show off my best Spanish. Es un placer conocerle y poder presentarle esta increíble herramienta de traducción. Rumor has it, I say it even better in Korean. Manabogu doyo kipugo inolan 번역 도구를 소개해드릴 수 있게 되어 영광입니다. And in case you are finally going to go on that safari in Tanzania, you might find this helpful. Ni furaha kukutana nawe na kuweza kuwasilisha zana hii nzuri ya kutafsiri. Book a live demo so we can show you how you can be the best version of yourself in any language. Speak to you soon in the language of your choice.
All right. So just so you know, that's in your back office as an example for people on that. I know that's different than live, right? But it's just the fact that you said it. You said that at hello, Rachel. So I thought, okay, why wait? I'm going to play that one right now.
Right.
In that perspective. Okay. And then, and as I go through, and I'll show especially the new people today, how we created that, right? How we did it. Because I'm not here to entertain, right? I'm really here to teach you, to show you that whatever I do, I'm not doing anything that you can't do. So that doesn't require some third-party software or as I tease, have an Alvaro in your life who can make you seem smarter than you are and everything else that you do. So we'll do that. But before I kind of start from the beginning, and then Rachel, I promise I'll get back at the end on more testing on that. Is anyone, except for the new people, which I'm going to cover as knowing they're brand new today. Hey, Thomas, anyone else have anything they want to particularly me to cover as I'm going through sort of an overall intro to the platform?
Steve, Thomas is brand new as of today, just joining us with the training.
What is this, a summer fever? What's the matter with you people? Shouldn't you be in Europe or something? Not with me, okay? You know?
It's 100 degrees in Cleveland.
There you go. All right, well, listen, let me set this demo up for 3 new people. And again, realize we have other people on the call who are a lot more advanced, or someone like Rachel, I'm saying, who's working on a particular function or feature. So we try to make sure we cover all bases today. Just so you know, we do this every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, so the nice part is if somebody does join like you do have an opportunity pretty much to start right away learning and jumping in. And then over the extended 4-day weekend, so to speak, if people do have questions, you can always feel free to email customer support at mypitch.com. And also you can always copy me, steve@mypitch.com. And I know if you're new, you're going to go on, this is a little surprise. Feel free to text me personally, and I'll redirect that to somebody. Because sometimes you have a quick question and you don't want to wait till Monday, right? Like you're in the middle of teaching yourself and trying to do something, and God, Monday seems a long time away. And so I could just, I'm pretty good at looking at text and then redirecting those or responding myself if I can. And my phone number is 954-683-7755. If you call me, it will go to, this is the same thing I say to my mother. If you call me, it's going right to voicemail. Sorry, that's just the way that I work. But if you need me to call you back, please let me know and I'll do that. Otherwise, I just want to realize you do have a support system here, as opposed to there's tutorials, but I always try to be me. I'm saying I hate learning from tutorials, so that's not my fallback position to you, is it's always in a tutorial, but they are in the back office and I'll show you, okay? Anything else anyone want me to cover before I get started? All right. So let me share another browser. And I do that because I'm actually logged into another portal in another browser, so I can show you what it looks like as the host. So you see it from the backside in that sense, okay? And so if you haven't had the courage yet to log in, and this is your moment, or if you have and it didn't make sense, let me make it make sense for you. So as soon as you start in, the reason we have this highlighted in this particular color is because if you just want to know what is this experience like, and you remember you're here by yourself, you can literally just hit start a meeting, which I'll do in a second for you. So you can literally have the experience as a host without training, without experience, without watching tutorials. You literally can just throw yourself right in, and you can make as many mistakes as you want because you'll be the only one in that meeting, okay? Then when you move to courage, right, where you want to actually do this with somebody else, you can hop on this instant invite link. And you can copy it this way, you can copy it this way, copy and paste it, text it to somebody, email it to somebody, and then without them downloading any software, just the way you did, they can join your meeting. So that's the simple way to do that. When you want to then move up to scheduling a meeting, you just kind of move over to the left, and you'll see anytime you schedule a meeting, they're right here. And when you want to start a meeting, we try to make these 3 dots as visible as possible. I think we've done a good job, but this is where you start a meeting, right? You click on those 3 dots and you would start a meeting, edit the meeting, delete it. You have all of those options here to do that right here. See, they just pop up like that, okay? Pretty simple, okay? You can also click on the link to start the meeting, but when you do it this way, it gives you a couple more options, which without trying to overwhelm you at hello, that's my preferable way of starting a meeting, okay? The other thing you want to do, just really quickly familiar with these buttons. Dashboard is the one in the upper left. That's this one. That's kind of your real-time functionality starting these scheduling meetings. My rewards is we do have a system here that when you refer people, what a novel thought, we reward you. We reward you with cash. We reward you with free service. And even if some of the people that you bring in start to reward them, we pay you for that too. And this is a way, without going into it here, there's all different ways that you can check to how that works, but this is that kind of a system where all that information is available to you. And then when you want to get paid, we sort of create a digital wallet for you. And anytime you want to pull money out of that wallet, you have to set up your wallet, and that's where you're going to go to payments and payouts. And basically, it's very simple. You put in your bank account information, you fill out your tax form, and if those 2 things are done, then you get paid usually within 24 to 48 hours of your request, depending on your bank or your institution. The My Account page has a few things. You want to really go to My Profile, and we kind of learned this, is that you want to set up your own personal link, okay? So right here, you notice this will be my own personal invite link. It'll say meet.mypitch.com, / and this is what you can personalize. You could do it your first name, your last name, your company name, and all you do to edit it, you can change it for any meeting you want. You hit edit, and literally you can just change it. So that's kind of make sure you do that, because when you want to have your own personal link at some point, it's there. If you're 25 and a little, snippy with me, then you probably have streaming links and you want to set up your Facebook Live and YouTubes, and you would do that right here. So that way, if you do want to broadcast live, literally just put in your streaming links right there. And it doesn't even have to be Facebook or YouTube. It could be any social media channel. It might be Restream or StreamYard or a third-party company that you use where you could broadcast to hundreds of stations at the same time. So it's nice that you don't have to do any of this beforehand to do meetings. It's just later on. You want everything to be at the touch of a button, and that's it. So that's really kind of a critical perspective. Down here on my subscription is if you want to upgrade, downgrade. I try to hide the cancellation button, but it's there, okay? But change your payment methods. So if you do, you don't have to email customer support. You're actually in charge of your own account completely, from canceling to upgrading to downgrading, okay? Okay, then the next important button here is the communication center. This is where I was saying to you, if you want to join our today, you can't remember the link, you can actually join from right here. Whenever we have special events, you'll also be able to join right from here in case you don't know what the link is. And here's where we have those corporate videos. So you can play them, you can download them, you can edit them, put your own video in, change your own script, and we'll go over teachings about how to do that. But we have now here quite an interesting collection, I'm saying, of videos to do that. And they're valuable to you in the sense that when you meet somebody who's in real estate, you meet someone in insurance, you meet someone in affiliate marketing, e-commerce marketing, network marketing, someone who wants to know how the language thing works, someone onboarding human resources, you've got a 1-minute video that shows how it's done. So literally, it's not a case of saying, hey, you got a 10-minute demo. I can show you how someone in real estate uses it. I can show you how someone in DocuSign used it. No, you have a copy right here. And you can just send it out as a sample. You don't have to wait until you're really trained on the system to send someone to do it. So all of that is back here. It becomes incredibly valuable to you. Every time you do meetings and you have reports, we have a whole meeting section here. So if you're working with people and you want to know who showed up or who invited people and they showed up, you can look back in the meeting section. Then we have a My Media section. And this becomes very, very valuable because this is where all your recordings are. And so if you want to play your recordings, share your recordings, by the way, every recording now comes with an AI summary automatically. You don't have to request it. All you do is pop up in the video and you'll see the recording right there on the side. Like for instance, if I pop up this video.
Hello, Mark here.
Oh, that one
Every
doesn't have it.
business
Sorry.
has a unique.
I didn't record that. Sorry about that. I thought it was that one. Let me go back to where I was. But anyway, so it comes with it. And you can also download those executive summaries and edit that, because in case you didn't say something you want someone else to hear, they don't want to just send that report out right away. You can actually manipulate that before you do it. If you have a great PowerPoint presentation or Google slide presentation, you could play it with us exactly the way you do in Zoom. Don't have to do it, but we also created our own player. And if you can upload your presentation here, your Google slide presentation, or convert your PowerPoint into the Google slide, we have a great presentation player. And you can play your presentations, even make them interactive. So it's an advantage, not a requirement when you're sharing those. And then our infamous AI Avatar Studio is right here. And this is where I just created that video that you saw in the international language translations. And so quickly to know, how did I do that? Okay. If you're brand new, this is going to be blank for you, right? Because you haven't uploaded any photographs. So you'll click on the blank box and that'll allow you to go to your computer and upload anything from your computer, whether it's in your photo section, cloud drive. And once it's here, it'll stay here. So that's what I did. I had that photo, I uploaded it. Then I wrote my script. And I wrote the script all in English first. And then I cheated. I went to ChatGPT and I took those paragraphs and I converted it to those 3 different languages. And then I repasted it here. So I had literally just written in the language the fact paragraphs I wanted word for word. I didn't do anything special. I just wrote it in that way. And then because I recorded my voice in the past, I had it under my voices right here. I have Steve 1, Steve 2, because I kind of did it in different styles. I selected my voice. So I had my script, I had my voice, I had my picture, and I was good to go. And then after it was rendered, I then added at a certain point in the video, and we'll go into more training on how to do that, exactly what time in the video I wanted the website to appear, or that web page to appear, or multiple web pages to appear. So the magic to our AI avatars is a photo, a script, and a voice. And you can make it is that simple if you're just doing an AI twin, or have some fun with it like we do every single week with our celebrity guests. Okay. So that's kind of a really quick overview, right, of the mechanics, right? Any questions on that?
That script that you had for the video with the 3 different languages, do you have that script we can copy and put it to our picture?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll put it in the chat. I'm saying as soon as I'm done, because I think I literally have it here in my right hand corner. Okay.
Thank you.
I like when people ask me for my scripts. Okay, that's my ego stroke. Thank you very much. Okay. Does anyone have anything else? I know, again, I'm trying to just give you the 10,000 square foot, because I promise you, once you start to play around with the buttons, you'll have a different level and a different set of questions, right? But to me, the best part, right, is let's say I never did this and you never saw it, and you literally just logged in and you want to go, I want to jump in, right? I don't want to be trained. I don't want this to be harder than Zoom and Google Meet, right? I've been doing Zoom for 10 years and now I'm acting like I'm on a tricycle here. So that's what I meant, is all you have to do is hit start a meeting. And right now, yes?
Quick question. On the photo, can you have more of a headshot and it would automatically scale that video down where you're not shooting from the waist if you didn't want to do that?
Yeah, you can upload any photo you want. I'm saying, so what I normally do, I'm saying if I don't have a photo of myself in my own photo section, I take a screenshot off my computer. You don't need to do a high quality 4K, photo, but literally you can do full body, you can do face up, you can do, the only thing I would warn you about when you creating the photo is you can't have other people in the background.
Got it.
Because you have other people in the background, they're going to be moving their lips, right? Our AI can't tell the difference in who's supposed to be talking, right? Like I once did a video with Santa Claus and the reindeer. Now the reindeer was moving its lips, but it looked like it was normal. No one realized they were moving the lips at the same time as Santa. Right? It just kind of looked pretty natural, right? So from that point of view, right? The second,
like the backup singers, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes I crack myself up. Sorry. The second thing is you don't want to have it where there's where the hands start like this, because then if the AI sees the hands, it tends to want to do something with them, right? And it can become distracting. So that's why mostly I go to a certain point, because I don't want, if I have my hands like this or I'm doing like this, it's just, or it makes this kind of motion, it'll overdo it. So again, it's like making it easier for the technology to work. And sometimes some pictures just don't render well, so like sometimes if a picture, has just certain different colors in the background, there isn't yet a science about why some render well, other than the obvious question of the simpler the picture, the easier it is for the AI engine to generate those differentials, right? One other thing I do want to share on the AI Avatar Studio, which is critical when you're making it, is I did a demo yesterday for a guy who was really an AI avatar expert, right? He's worked with HeyGen and Synthesia, and they're really great companies that's all they do in that perspective. And we're not trying to compete with them. And the great thing is, if you use those sophisticated AI avatars, you can use them in our system. You can upload them. So I'm not trying to compete with them. I'm trying to offer AI avatar twins for the everyday person, not the marketing agency. But what he said is, I've never seen such a coordination between the emotion of the script and the photo, the way that you guys have it. He goes, that's your differentiator that makes it so unique, right? And that's our use case of AI. And so as opposed to AI writing the script for you, which you can certainly do outside of our system, right? But this is really the key, right? If this is, right, the most important, script, for me to get this close, right? What I do and what you can do before you render it, right, is you want to hit AI enhance. This is where our AI engine is sort of our proprietary secret sauce in the sense that it works really well. Based on your script, it reads your script, it looks at the picture, and it makes suggestions of how the picture should act according to your script to give it that realism. So let's say here it's suggesting I whisper, here it suggests I sigh, but I'm not stuck with AI, being my creator, right? So let's say I want to change it, right? I don't want whisper, right? I'm going to want it to say, sorry, some reason you always have to go in twice. I want it to start off confident. If I could spell confident right. Then I hit AI enhance and I basically override what AI suggested. So, and then I could listen to it as many times as I want to make sure that I was right. Sometimes what I think is confident, AI didn't think is confident, right? And I'll play with it several times until I feel it's that realistic tone that I'm looking for. So that's the perspective, right? The other thing too is if you have an audio, let's say you have an old audio that you think is perfect and you don't want to redo it, but you want to put that audio to a new image and a new picture, you can actually upload the audio of that as opposed to writing a script. So you have a choice between uploading a script or uploading an audio. The only thing is the audio has to be in the right format, which is an MP3, right? So you see what I mean? If you know nothing, it's simple. Write a script, right? All of a sudden you start with the advanced questions. I have an old YouTube video where everyone thought I was great. Fine, you could do that too, right? In that perspective. And you just literally upload that. So I just want to make sure you guys are clear on that. And the other thing that's important, because I always think the best thing that we do to people is we take out this whole everyone being a creative genius aspect of marketing to people. So if I'd say to you, the best thing about AI avatars is that, or you, right, is you're your best spokesperson. You are your best spokesperson. You're the most knowledgeable. You're the most passionate. You're the most credible person to talk about your content. And when your content is your website that you probably spent the most amount of money on, or your company has, you know what to say. All of a sudden, you're not playing with ChatGPT and Sora and Gemini and asking it, can you please create a photo where the girl's running on the beach and there's a weight loss product, sitting on the towel. And, you're trying to be, these marketing geniuses. But if you literally just know you're the most important thing in your website, I think you just get into business. And that's where, and remember, you don't have to use AI avatars to create interactive websites. If you're gifted enough, talented enough to make the recording yourself, you literally go into the webinar, hit record, or you can actually record it outside of our system using any other recording tool you want, and you can upload you. The only reason AI avatars are great is because it just takes forever. It takes 20 takes to do it yourself. And that's where the avatars, are really helpful, just allowing you to scale. When it comes to cloning your own voice, especially if you're going to play around and want to make sure you see that, you click on select voice. And these are voices that I've done before, because you see, these are my voices, whether I've uploaded them as celebrities. Then we have a library of voices so you can pick somebody that sounds like a good old boy, sounds like somebody who's a young, smart kid. And you could pick any picture off the internet and you can actually create your own virtual assistant. You can create your own vice president of sales that are representing you in case you don't want your face out there and all that perspective. But if it is going to be you and it is going to be your voice, here's how easy it is. Own voice, right? And then you just write, in this case, since I have two, I'm going to write Steve 3, right? And then I'm going to either have a 30-second clip of my voice from something else that I want to use that I thought I sounded really well, or I'm going to record it right now. And I literally hit start recording and I'll record for 30 seconds. And it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't have to be Peter Piper picked a peck, right? It's just record it in the tone that you want your avatar to speak. So if you're speaking like Martin Luther King in front of 10,000 people, you're probably going to speak a little differently in the recording than if you're on an interview, right? One-to-one on a social media channel. And you're going to make that description so you could remember. You'll click to remove the background noise, and then you'll hit clone. And within 15 seconds, you've got your voice. So I just want to make sure, I know a lot of people are curious about this in that sense. Okay. Any other questions on this area before I just kind of hit the start a meeting? Okay. So
I have a
when you
question.
hit start, sure, fire away.
How long can you make a speech? For how long? Can you make a conference in the speech, in the script, I mean?
So the AI avatar, so I'm going to answer it two ways for you, okay? Each AI avatar recording could be about 5 minutes. The reason we limit it to 5 minutes is because it'll take too long for it to render, because the computing power is so tremendous in order to render those, right? 5 minutes is about, we're beyond 5 minutes, it just becomes painful of you going, it's not done yet, it's not done yet, and I'm getting customer service phone calls, right? But what you can do, and what I do, right? How do I create a 15-minute video? I make 3 avatars, and then I put them together as one. And there's a little training, I'll show you how to do that. So you're really not limited to 5 minutes, because you could literally stitch together 3 videos seamlessly, whether it be 3 of you continuously. You write the script accordingly, knowing you're going to do 1, 2, and 3, or you maybe want to break away to someone else speaking during that recording. So you're limited in how to approach it, but you're not limited in the end result, if that makes sense. Okay? And again, it's a little bit more training.
Thank you, sir. I was asking you because I have a client that's interested in the platform, and he's an engineer, an electrical mechanical engineer that works around the world, and he makes conferences. So he was wondering if it's possible to record a conference with his avatar. That way he can transmit his conference without him having to do it himself, but just record it. That was the reason I'm asking you.
Yes, that's a different experience. I'm saying, again, I don't think it's a good use case to do. You can't do a 45-minute avatar, right? Doing instead of you, and then recording that in that perspective. It wouldn't work that way. That's really not the use case for us, right?
Okay, thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I had a chance to meet that gentleman and talk to him, we could talk about better use cases of it.
Yes, sir. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And that's what I always meant, is sometimes, a use case has to meet the best, the best technology and the best use case sometimes have to be in alignment. And there are workarounds. So for instance, if let's say he went to Hey Gen or Synthesia, for argument's sake, where they're more specialized in maybe that format, right? He can create a 45-minute avatar outside of our system, and then he can upload that 45-minute. I'm saying, so that's what I meant about we can be creative, as opposed to that he's got this vision and he can't do it. No, I can still take what he wants to create and then give him the roadmap of the smartest and best way to do it.
How to do it. Give him options. All right. Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
No, and thank you for a great question.
Jake, Jake here.
Go ahead.
I just want to make a question and a comment. Based on what Harry showed me, you could just record your own webinar and then use that as an evergreen webinar that still is interactive. But on the sound, on the voice recording, is more audio sample the better? I mean, if I've got somebody that does a podcast and could put in an hour's worth of does that do any better at cloning the voice than a short sample?
Let me say that both work effectively depending on the quality of the recording. So if I'm recording into the computer and I'm in a noisy background, then my live recording is not going to be good. Sometimes that's better. Sometimes, like if you convert a YouTube video to MP3, the quality of the YouTube video is not good because it was in a bad studio. It has music in the background, right? So it's very individual in that sense. I will say to you that every single week I do a celebrity where I take a YouTube video and I find the right one that and I take a 15 or 20-second clip of that voice and I use that as the recording. And no one ever says to me, "Oh, that didn't sound like him." That's that. So I'm saying both work, right? In that sense, just depending on the quality of the individual recording.
We had a recent. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We have my founder does. He does a radio show and he broadcasts from our heart studio. So he has professional recording. But we use this other service called Roomvu. I don't know if you've ever heard of those guys. They create an avatar, and they even use 11 Labs on their back office for the audio. But it's terrible. It doesn't sound like him at all.
Well, let me say this, and I'll say this too. Again, 11 Labs is a great example, right? The truth is they're one of the best in the industry at voice. But if you don't use 11 Labs correctly, it's going to be a bad experience, right? So that's what I'm saying. The technology behind the scenes is not just the components, but it's how you put them together in that format. So that's what I meant. I don't know if I have here, but this past Tuesday, here, I did this one. Let me share this for a second. And again, so just so you know, I'm going to not play the whole thing, right? But I went to Google and I Googled Mark Zuckerberg. I got a Google screenshot, not like some, high quality resolution picture, right? And then I went to YouTube and there was, of course, 20 YouTube videos. And I tried to select the one where I thought his voice was appropriate, right? The tone, the volume, right? The attitude, right? And then, and I uploaded that 20 seconds of his clip, right? And I created, this that I played for people. Let's see. I've got to find it after that setup, right? I'll tell you what, instead of that one, let me play this one because I think this one is actually kind of more remarkable.
Words.
Over here,
I have a dream.
dead on, the voice is dead on.
I realized I had made a mistake. I should have said, "We have a dream." I didn't give people the dream of freedom. I merely gave them a voice for the pathway to achieve it. I see a dream here at Pitch. Pitch rings loud and true for many of you for different reasons. For some, it's financial freedom. For others, it's the freedom to be on the leading edge of transformation for virtually every business in any language from any mountaintop or corner of the world.
Not bad. Not bad.
So that's what I meant about how creative you can choose to be, right? And I did it the same way. I found a picture of him, and it's funny because there's people in the background, and that particular picture had the people faded out. I didn't have it faded out. But if you look really closely, there's one person and you'll see their lips moving, right? But he's so charismatic, right? Your eyes don't go to that person, right? You don't know. So anyway, that's always my go-to example when somebody goes, "How good are you?" Okay, well, it's good enough for Martin. It's good enough for me, in that sense. Okay. Okay. Any other question before I kind of just jump in back to for our new people, just in case they haven't had a chance to see what it looks like as the host, right? That's really what I want to show people, right? And how you navigate things here. So
Hey,
as I
Steve.
said, yeah.
It's Vicky.
Go ahead.
When are you going to do a MAGA?
When am I going to do Trump? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, come on. You've already
Well,
crossed the line with you've already crossed the line with Martin Luther King. I mean, let's really get the people excited. Do a MAGA just for grins and giggles.
I got to tell you, every Tuesday night when I think about what celebrity I'm going to use, right, I have to have a hook in my mind, right, that relates to Pitch, that relates to what they would really say about it. So when that hits me, right, that's when.
I got the hook for you.
Right?
So Trump's phase is "Make America Great Again."
Yeah.
Make Pitch great again.
Yep, that's the one.
I was actually working on because I got stuck with my audio. It wouldn't do the voice. It wouldn't finalize because I emailed last night to support.
And put Nancy Pelosi in the background.
It's just, yeah, I'm saying you can see now how this could become addicting, right? In terms of your creativity. But let me finish this for our new people, and then we'll decide whether we'll have Obama and Trump in the same one having a conversation. Maybe I'll edit those together. That could be an interesting one. So when you log in to start a meeting, for right now and only for a brief time further, you have two versions because before you guys joined, we had an original version of 1.0, and then we realized that AI is going to rule the world. So we better, not just layer AI uses on top of our platform. We actually rewrote all the code on virtually every single part of our platform. So our foundation is based on AI and being able to support that versus just being a Band-Aid in that perspective. And so there's still a couple of features left that we haven't yet moved over from version 1 to version 2. And then version 1 will go away. So I personally do all of my meetings in version 2.0, but there's still a feature or two, like breakout rooms are only in version 1 for now. That's something we may be releasing in the next week or so and moving that over. That's probably the most important feature, that's still in version 1 that we don't have in 2.0. So I click on 2.0 and I start my meeting. And then just realize before your meeting starts, you don't have any idea sometimes about how many devices your computer thinks you may want to be connecting to other than the one you're on. So that's why if you do the drop-down menu, you can actually see, for instance, I have 5 devices. I would have only have my AirPods on. How is that possible? So you just want to make sure that whether it be the microphone, or the speakers, they're hooked up onto the right device. So even though they may say blue meaning you're good to go, it still could be hooked up to the wrong device. And you can actually test the sound to do that. And then if someone does do it too quickly and they join on the wrong device, you can correct it once the meeting begins in settings. And I'll show you how to do that. But now, as soon as you hit join, I'm in a meeting all by myself and I have all my controls. And my controls are right here on the bottom, just deliberately designed like Zoom and Google Meets when you've got 500 million people a day that are getting on a live webinar and they kind of think they know where the buttons are. We try to keep them in the same place because it's just common sense. So our microphone is here. If you want to mute yourself, camera, if you want to shut yourself on and off. Here's where you can hit your record button. We also have a settings where you can record every meeting if you don't want to have to remember to do that. This is the settings button I'll go through in a second. This is the translation button that Rachel was talking about before, that for some reason she thinks she's doing wrong, and she may not be, right? But let's say, for instance, I'm in this meeting and I do want to start translations. All I do is I hit translation. And notice this pop-up comes up, and this pop-up will come up the same for every other person on the meeting. They get their own pop-up. As the host, I'm going to hit start translating. And if I happen to speak English, I want everyone speaking to me. I want to make sure it's in English, so I'm not going to change it. But if I was Spanish, if I was French, and I want people speaking to me, when they choose to talk, I could change the language I'm going to hear them in. Otherwise, it's always just going to be, defaulted to English, okay? And the guest has to do the same thing. They have to go to the drop-down menu and pick the language of their choice, or it's not going to work. And just the way it says start translating here, it'll say enable translation on their side. Soon as I hit that button, everyone goes on mute. Because otherwise, if everyone's talking in different languages at the same time, our AI translator gets confused. So if somebody does want to speak, the host can, again, it's defaulted to allow everyone to unmute themselves whenever they're ready to talk. And they can, or you can block everyone if you want to be the only one translating, and I'll show you how to do that. But I want you to think of it not like a bad kung fu movie in the sense that the translation, isn't coordinated. Think of it as a live person who's translating for you. And if you actually did that in the real world, how would you do it? You would probably say, hi, my name is Steve Jameson, and I want to welcome everyone to today's call. And then you'd allow the translator to say it. And then you'll see it right on the bottom. It'll say it in the transcription, and you'll hear it in the audio. And so if you kind of develop that rhythm, of saying it first and allowing the translator to do it, it just works better than it looking like it's just one long paragraph, right? It's supporting the technology to use it in the best way possible versus just not even acting like there's any difference between a real meeting and a live voice meeting. This weekend, we'll also have it where if you want it to be transcription only, we'll have that, which again is going to be our version of closed captioning, also in any language as well, because sometimes people don't want to hear the audio, they just want to do reading. You'll have that option as well. So again, and then when you want to stop the translation, all you do is hit disable. So literally, it's that simple to turn that translation on and off. Okay? So I think that's fairly surprisingly simple on how to do something that no one else in the world seems to be able to do very effectively, right? Second thing is we have two ways to screen share. We have a screen share the way you normally do in Zoom and Google Meet, and that's called screen, stands short for screen share. And that's where you click screen, your browser's going to pop open. You're going to see whether you want to share a tab or whether you want to share a whole nother browser. It doesn't really allow you to share the entire screen. Browser bases don't really allow you to do that. But I'm saying you can share a whole nother window or you can share a tab. And when you share a tab, notice it previews each one that you want. So you literally just click on the one you want and then you hit share. But this is important here. And the reason you'll always sometimes still want to use this, see it says also share tab with audio. So you want to make sure that that is on blue, that it's lit up. And that way when you're playing videos or videos that are embedded in websites, it'll be crystal clear and have high quality. So even though I'm going to show you another way to screen share when it comes to sharing content, we also, in version 1, which I think we're finishing this weekend, is we built our own special YouTube video player. And I think we're just about finished with that. And so we should be releasing that really shortly. So if you have special YouTube videos you want to play, we created a standalone player. Because we know that was one of the biggest complaints about Zoom, is that when they play YouTube videos, the quality is so inconsistent. So we finally have a chance to rebuild that we originally did. Now, this part is the key. Like if they always say to people, if you don't like this part about our platform, you probably don't really like anything else, right? This is our interactive share website button. So when you're ready to do that, you hit the share button. And this is really an on and off button, right? You see that, you click it goes away, click it goes away, click it comes back. You can also make it go away by Xing here, right? And realize that even when you're shrinking your screen with all these other things open, it doesn't shrink the screen, I'm saying, for what someone is seeing. Right? It's only for you as the host, okay? So anytime, let's say you're not prepared, you have no idea what you're doing, right? How do I bring up a website? All you have to do is cut and paste the website from your browser or literally type it in, okay? So I just typed in statefarm.com. Now, maybe I want to see it before anybody else, right? Because I want to make sure it looks good. Or maybe I want to make sure it's on the right page. So I hit preview. Don't have to hit preview. I could have started right away, but okay. So it was good. I could stop preview, or I could have went from preview to standard, right? But now I always know anytime I bring up State Farm that it's going to be, it plays great. And I also could save it here as a favorite. As soon as I hit this star, you see it says add to favorites, it'll now be on my list. And I can have an unlimited number of basically creating my own private browser, because I could go from website to website to website at the touch of a button. If I want to search for it, I hit the little search bar and I type in State Farm, and there it is. See, I've saved it so many times, it comes up 5 times, right? So now I can start it off as not an interactive. I click standard, meaning it's a standard experience for my guests, because I don't want my guests clicking around this website right before I want them to click on my website. So I'm in control, right? So it's the same as a screen share in Zoom in the sense that they can't control it, right? And I could bring up, the retirement plans. I could bring, they have no idea it's going to be interactive. I haven't even suggested that it would ever at one point be interactive. But if I'm lucky enough to be the best State Farm insurance salesman you ever made in your life, and if I was going to end this meeting, what's my go-to? If I'm selling nutritional products, if I'm selling skincare products, I want you to sign a DocuSign contract. whatever I want you to do, I'm on a Zoom or a Google Meet. What's my go-to move as a salesman? Nothing. I'm going to send a text in the chat and then chase you for the next 5 days. And even though you too thought my presentation was the best it ever was right now, an hour later, you don't remember it that well. 2 hours later, you don't remember me at all. 3 hours later, I find out you're with my competitor. Right? That's just the nature of sales. If it doesn't happen in the moment, it just doesn't happen. And so whether it's one person or whether it's 600 people on at the same time, I could hit this button, interactive, and I basically have now created a private website for all 600 people to actually start a quote where no one else can see it. Every single person can type in their zip code. Every single person can put in their address, their credit card. And the only person that can see it is the person who's typing it in themselves. Even as the host, when I grab control of the screen back at any time, because I want to go someplace else on the site, all their information will still be in there that they filled out when I give them back in control. But what makes us unique, what makes us much more than Zoom with a buy button, is that I'm in control, they're in control, or we're just back to regular webinar. And this is what I meant about, let's say, for instance, I want to bring up my calendar right now. See, now that it's in my own private browser, I literally can just bring it up at the touch of a button. Just switch it to my calendar. No typing, no nothing, right? So if you master just this functionality, I'm saying you literally master our platform. It's almost like your iPhone, right? I'm saying everyone can't do probably 50% of the features that an iPhone can do. They can make a phone call, they can check their text, they can check their emails, they can check their social media, and no one's complaining, right? And take a photo. The fact that it could measure the furniture in your living room, it could take your heart blood pressure, right? We're in that same category, right? If you could do this, you've just killed it in terms of what a Zoom experience is. But
Does
the
it
great
matter
news
what
is,
calendar you're using, Steve?
no, it just has to be,
If I
it
use a
just has to
Google
be the
Calendar,
URL.
a link?
The
Okay.
key is
Right.
this works with virtually any website in the world. So as long as it's URL based, web based, you can bring it up. That's
Cool.
the beauty of this, right? So it doesn't matter what language it's in, what country it's in, as long as it begins with a www, you're good to go, right? So that's really one of the, like I say, the cool features of this experience. Okay. So any questions on that, or we're good? Okay.
About I have a question about the translator.
Sure.
Can the translator translate into two different languages at the same time, or only one?
Yes, that's why we put everyone on mute, because it can translate 42 different languages at the same time. Except if everyone's hearing 42 different languages translated at the same time, right? It's not going to be a pretty experience. But if everyone's on mute, right? And when someone unmutes themselves to speak, and we have 40 people that are chosen 40 different languages, it will choose that language that person is chosen to translate it into. But and the other thing I wanted to finish here too. Notice here up on the right-hand side, it says websites, right? But this is where I was talking about that you can also create a slide presentation. So there's a training, and I'll show you how to upload those slides presentations. But once I have, right, I can seamlessly go back to a presentation to a website. So for instance, right now, I'm going to pick one of the ones that I presented. Notice this player came up for me. It's going to show me the first slide and always the next slide, right? Now all I do is I hit start sharing. And now I have this incredibly cool PowerPoint player, Google slide presentation, whatever you want to call it, that I could literally toggle back and forth. So not a requirement to use it, but once I play with it, I go, maybe I want to use it. So let's say I start my presentation off with this great slide presentation. Then I want to go to an interactive website. I just X this, I hit stop sharing. I X that out, and I can go right now back and bring up a website. So this is where I meant as the host, everything's at the touch of a button. You don't have to set up anything ahead of time. And just the nice part is, if you want to, but you can. And so that's what I meant, is that when I make all these my favorites, I basically created my own private
you got
browser.
a list of 4 websites. You want to do your presentation if you wanted to set it up where you do your presentation, your slide presentation, and then have 3 different websites that you're going to cover, could you stage those over there?
Unbelievable.
Where you're not having
Absolutely.
to choose? Okay.
Absolutely. That's what I meant. You're in charge of what you have. So everything's at the touch of a button. You can go from 2 different presentations to 3 different websites, and they're all there. You're not busy typing them in. You know, I mean, you don't miss a beat. You don't have to stop the presentation, hit screen share, right? The clumsy way that you do it, you know, with a Zoom or Google Meets. So that's the beauty of it.
What you see, you could limit it to only 3, not 7.
Sure.
Okay, got it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But I'm saying the truth is you don't really need to like delete all the ones, because literally you hit the Q, you start to type in the first 2 letters, it'll pop up. So you kind of just have this library, but if you wanted it to only be that, you can certainly do that, right?
Hey,
So
Steve, with
Lisa,
with
wait,
the
I'm sorry, go ahead,
example-
Thomas.
Okay, with the
Yeah.
example of the State Farm, would you be able to have electronic signature done by your client so that you don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to go out and get a signature from them?
Absolutely. In fact, I did a 1-minute video in the back office in the communication center. That's a simulated DocuSign. I do it using DocuSign. So what's nice is, let's say, for instance, a lot of insurance companies don't have their own in-house e-signature. They use DocuSign, right? So you literally could bring up State Farm as your first presentation, have them fill out the quote, and as opposed to saying, let me get back to you with a DocuSign, you could then bring up DocuSign live right there in the moment, have them sign it, or you could literally say to them, you know what, right after this meeting, I'm going to send you an interactive recording. I'm going to bring up the DocuSign page for you, right? And you could literally have them sign it. So if somebody ever says, oh, by the way, you know, I don't have time for this, even though it's interactive, I didn't realize that you were going to consume all this time of me. Great. Let me make it in a recording. Let me still guide you along the way. I'll bring up those pages. The other thing you can do as well is, let's say it's the end of the meeting.
Okay.
And again, they didn't have time, right, to finish filling out the form. They can click on a button at the top of the website and it'll pop up in their browser. So they'll still be on the page even after they leave. So you don't even have to do it, finish it all live and in the moment, because sometimes, again, they just didn't plan on, right, on taking out their credit card, or you don't want to, you're starting to feel they're uncomfortable and they're going to say, I love this, but I want to think, great. Just make sure you click on the button. It'll say open up in the browser, and the website literally will open up on the website. Even if it's an affiliate or replicated page of the site, it'll be that site and be able to do that as well.
So they would be able to come back, let's say in a day or in 2 days, and
finish it.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So even if you don't send them the recording, they would still have that website. They're still not dependent on you to do that. In fact, let me see if I can show you where that button is. Can you go back here a second? Okay. So let me go back to, sorry, here. Let me go back to sharing a website, and let's see if it's up here on mine. Okay, so you see here where it says layout here up on top?
Yes.
If you can see it. And then if I scroll a little to the right, it'll say copy the URL.
Right.
I can copy and paste it, but if I go to the 3 dots, I actually can just open it in a new tab. I don't even have to copy and paste it.
Okay.
And so you open that and it'll pop. The meeting will still be going on. It won't be like leave the meeting, but when the meeting's over, it'll still be in their browser to be able to do it. It's a very cool feature. And that was a feature that actually came from people like yourself, you know, who suggested it, and we were able, you know, to incorporate that. So that was just a great idea.
Quick question. Okay, if you turn your computer off, is it still there when you turn it back on?
It'll be in your browser, right? Obviously, you know, because you've left the meeting, you've turned your computer off. But like for me, I've got 20 tabs open in my browser every day. Right? When I open up my computer, those 20 are there. Will be one of those 20, just like any other tab.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And from that, so I like that you highlighted our coolness in that perspective, right? So also, I want to make sure that that especially the new people, right, that you understand the context of this, right? So the difference between us and Zoom, right, is Zoom's a webinar. Google's a webinar, right? If you speak to somebody and they say, I don't use Zoom, well, I don't know then what your next comment is, right? It's like, okay, then I guess we don't have much to talk about, right? But with us, we're really a touch point platform. So what I say to somebody is whether you're doing live webinars or whether you're doing recorded webinars, we have an answer for you. But if you don't want to do webinars, I'm not here to convince you that webinars are more effective. Because if you don't do one of those two, you probably send a text or an email. And what if I told you that you never have to get on a webinar platform with us, that you can send interactive text and email? Or if you're 25 and you're broadcasting to social media, you don't have to do what your father does. You can still broadcast to social media and you can turn that into an interactive experience, right? So we really are, in a positioning perspective, not just with fancy terminology, we're a touch point platform that's not looking to change how you've built your business for 20 years, the way you reach out and touch people. We're just saying, show us how you do the business, and we'll show you how we can make what you do more effective. Now, if we inspire you to do something else because you didn't, the reason you never used webinars is because you were frustrated like I was. I made my best presentation, nothing happens. Like, I don't want to do this every week, right? But I'm saying now that you know it can happen and close in the moment, maybe you reimagine. So I'll say to you that this is, I do demos, as Ray will tell you and Gary will tell you, all day long, right? And I don't care if you're the CTO of a Fortune 100 company or you're a network marketer, affiliate, you're an influencer. 95% of the time, every demo goes exactly the same way, eerily to the point of the same language. That when I do the demo, they'll say, when they finally touch the screen, right? Because they usually are multitasking on me until they touch the screen, right? When they touch the screen, they always go to this. They always go, oh my God, just like that. Or they'll go, the second thing they'll say is, that's cool. That's really cool. I don't know why those two terms are the only terms that people use, but invariably, right? 90% of people say those two things. Then they'll say, let me think about how I would use this. Oh, how are other people using this to inspire them how they would use it, right? And then they always go, I'm sorry, I need to get my head around this, right? Those are the 4 steps of a demo that I'm saying very rarely does somebody go is, I don't know, I don't really see it. You know, I'm pretty good with Zoom, thanks, right? It just doesn't happen. I'm not saying that they immediately sign up because they see the value proposition, but what I learned in sales a long time ago is that if you can show that you're different, then we could discuss whether the difference is better. But now we're speaking on a common language, right? When I'm arguing that that you don't see the difference, I don't know how to win that argument, right? And so sometimes I'll give people 2 analogies, right? I'll say when Steve Jobs invented the smartphone, most people don't remember that the only phone really being used at the time was 1 of 2 phones, right? It was the Motorola flip phone, which had like 90% market share, or the BlackBerry, right? And everyone was happy. No one was going, I hope someone comes along with a new phone, right? And then so Steve Jobs comes along and he says, oh, by the way, I'm telling you, in a few years, making a phone call will be the 5th most popular thing you do on your phone. You're going to use it as a camera. You're going to check your emails. You're going to check your text. You know, and they went, why? I like my phone, right? It took him 3 years before people went, oh, this is better than a phone, right? That only makes a phone call, right? Or the other analogy I'll give is if you live 5 minutes, you know, from where you work and you drive a horse to work and somebody says to you, hey, there's this new thing called a car. The truth is it'll take you longer to park the car than it was to drive the horse to work. You don't see the value, right? But as soon as your job is 30 minutes away and everyone's taking a car, you're leaving the horse in the barn, right? Sometimes people need that vision, right? To understand it, even though you may be way ahead of them. Just realize what we're doing is so transformational, right? So highly impactful that they don't see it necessarily the way that you had an opportunity to see it through your own demo. And the last thing that I'll say to people, again, when somebody says, I don't know if there's really a difference, and for many of you that are on with us before, we were all shocked when, because every Tuesday night we do a live meeting and we have testimonials and they're not rehearsed. and they're not prepped. We just ask people to be brief. That's the only testimonial advice that we give people, right? And some guy said that I was using Zoom for 10 years and I couldn't get them interested in using Pitch because they're comfortable with Zoom, right? They don't want to learn a new system. But for whatever reason, they were having a nightmare with Zoom. They couldn't log on. And he said to them, hey, remember that Pitch deal? Why don't we switch over there? Why don't we try that, right? And he had about 20 sales reps. And he gave each one of those sales reps their own invite link to the meeting. So we were able, which Zoom can't do, track all their customers and track it to their affiliate sites. So when the customers were ready to check out, if they were, they would get credit for the sale through Shopify, Amazon, or whatever direct sales company they were. And at the end of that meeting, that company did $78,000 in sales before the webinar was over. So when somebody tells me, I don't know, it feels like Zoom. Okay, it's like, wait a second, right? You know, that physically was never able to happen before until we invented this platform. And so, and for the 3 people that are brand new, just so you know, I love Zoom, right? They were very good to me and my family. I was the largest ISV partner to Zoom in the world for 4.5 years, which is a fancy way of saying I built Zoom a special solution. I owned the customers. I did the billing. I created the experience. And no one appreciates what a good platform it is, right? And if you're going to use our platform the same way you use Zoom, we're not better, right? $25 billion company share a screen, they're pretty good. Do you know what I mean? But we created, the only reason that we decided to compete instead of partner was they weren't interested in the experiences I showed you today. That's not the direction that they didn't want to go in. Not that they may not go there in the future, because if we're as good as we think they are, I hope they do, because it'll validate what we're doing, because we're going to do a whole lot more. But as today, in technology, it's very rare that you get to be a standalone technology platform that's alone on the island that can create the experiences that we can create. There's a lot of people that can do elements that we do, right? There's people that do avatars, there's people that do Zoom with a buy button. There's people that do recordings, but no one does what we do in the way that we do it for the everyday person to make it capable of being able to do it. And so when we say that, and we give our phone numbers, we give our emails, and we need you to be our hero. We're not being benevolent, right? We're not just have no life and need you to fill our time, right? I need you to love the platform, because I think there's a window of opportunity to have experiences that no one's have, and you're the only people don't want to hear it from me, they want to hear it from you. You know, and so that's why we're there. We really are there to support you, to pay tribute to the platform and the technology that my development team. I don't write code. You know, I'm saying I'm no IT genius. I am somebody that understands what a customer experience needs to be, what doesn't exist. And I used to say that I had 25-year-olds that work for me that are brilliant. Now they're 30, so I got to change my story. But at the end of the day, it's that team that I want them to get the honor and recognition at a time when they're so far ahead of everyone else and what we've created. Are we perfect? No. Are we a startup? Yes. Are we a startup with a lot of savvy experience and a lot of expertise? Yes. Do we have bad days, Ray? Do we have bad days? Yes. But we're pretty good at overcoming them, you know? And that's the challenge of a startup, right? Is when common sense tells you not to do it, it's only, you know, that ambition and aspiration that makes you fight through it. So I know, my God, I'm sorry I took the whole hour, half of it with just with my rambles. I apologize for that. So again, if you guys need anything else, we're back on Monday at 4 o'clock.
Before you go, you said you're going to put in chat the script for.
Oh yes, hold on a second.
Because I need that.
Yeah, let me do that.
And if I can
right
get
now.
some of your time tomorrow or something, I need to practice and figure out those breakout rooms, because I'm doing a special event with breakouts on here.
Okay.
We're going to be doing marketing, advertising people and stuff like that. So we're doing a treasure hunt event on Alignable. So I need to try to practice those breakout rooms. 3 p.m. Eastern time. Yes.
So in that experience, so I've done it, very vaguely, but I don't know it the way that I know every other of the platform. But happy to learn it with. So we'll find some time tomorrow to do that. Friday is kind of my loose schedule where I try to end up working with the team as much as I can, vendors, new ideas, and then have an important demo or an issue. That's when I kind of jump on. But with that, thank you guys to a great evening. Thanks, Lisa. Hopefully that's for you on it should be through there. If not, in the chat.
I didn't see it yet.
He's frozen up. He's probably got a bad Wi-Fi connection in Ecuador.
Oh. Yeah, I don't see it.
Okay. Oh.
But one thing I do have to say is I do like they've made an improvement, because when he did the breakout, when he did the share the screen, it didn't show his background. His background stays solid now. So I do see they're making improvements in the background.